A lot of people at the moment are getting dogs from a shelter or rehoming dogs. This is the one thing that you need to know. Wanted to do this video this week because we lost our little buddy Tbone last week. Okay, I got Tbone when he was 3 from a very, very well-known shelter. He had a great fulfilling life, but very, very sadly, we lost him last week. He also had a whole range of interesting behavioural issues that I discovered once I got him home. So just on reflection, I thought this was a nice way to honour him and give you some information that will both protect your dog and set you up to succeed. The first consideration is don't let our compassion override our decision making. Now, that's very hard to do. We feel sorry for these dogs, okay? We pick them up, we bring them home, we know they've probably had a little bit of a rough start to life. But if that level of compassion starts to feed into their management and how we develop the dog, that's going to create problems, okay? The best thing that we can do is be objective. If you're completely objective about the things that you're seeing, you'll make very pragmatic decisions that's going to assist the dog, okay? So it's always a bit of a consideration that you want to protect the dog's interest by not letting people know things that you're seeing. So your dog might be a savage out the front in your yard, okay? They might be very territorial out the front. They may be trying to bite the cat, okay? They may snarl when they've got a bone or food and somebody comes near them, okay? If you're dealing with a trainer or getting assistance, which you should be if you've got a new dog at home, okay, it's very, very important that you're completely upfront about all of those things, because that is what's going to protect the dog or the interests of the dog, not holding information back. That puts them at much greater risk. 3 things that you can do to set yourself up for success when you get the rehome dog back at home. Okay, first thing is, okay, you need to safely assume that you don't know how the dog is going to respond in various scenarios. Okay, when they teach you to ride a motorcycle, they teach you to ride defensively. They teach you to assume that the person who's about to turn into the street in front of you, okay, can't see you. Okay, so you put yourself in a position where if they do pull out in front of you, that you can respond. You've got enough time to respond to safely avoid a collision. It's very important when you've got these new dogs at home that you're very cautious in all scenarios and you put things in place to protect their interests. Okay, so that's the first thing that you need to be very mindful of. In that first 12 months, there's a couple of things that you need to be looking for at all times. Firstly, when they're settling into a new environment, they're probably going to be a little bit anxious, okay, and a little bit uneasy. Now that can create aggression, okay, and very, very defensive responses or fear-based responses as a result of them feeling uneasy or uncomfortable, okay? That's not their fault. They've just been pulled from a shelter environment into your home environment, and it's all a little bit scary and uneasy. The next thing that you'll see, a different phase will kick in, sometimes at six months or 7, 8 months, is that the dog will start to own the space. They get comfortable and then they start to own the space, okay? Then they might start to become a bit protective of the property and display other types of behavior, okay? So you can get this second wave of potential aggression. Okay, that's not unusual and that's not problematic. It's just little carnivores, little dogs, and what they'll do, okay? So you just need to be on the lookout. This is why you can't just rest when you get home after 2 months because the dog hasn't done anything that's concerning. You need to be constantly looking out for issues. All right, the second thing that you want to do to set yourself up for success is train high-level obedience. That sets you up to communicate effectively with your dog. You want to be able to communicate desirable responses. All right, so if your dog is in a bit of a dangerous situation, you can put them in a drop, okay, which buys you a few seconds to clip them back on the lead. That is going to be very, very helpful. So train high-level obedience. That is your insurance policy. The other insurance policy, number 3, is muzzle training, okay? Muzzle training can be done in a way that doesn't bother your dog at all, okay? You can make it a really fun experience, just give them heaps of food when you're training it up, okay? Muzzle training will help set them up for success in a whole range of scenarios. Okay, you've got your cousin's toddler coming over and running around the house. Chuck the muzzle on. Okay, you're going to introduce the dog to another dog for the first time. Firstly, pick a very, very nice, calm, ideally older dog, but chuck a muzzle on your dog. Okay, why set them up to fail? Okay, it often takes one incident of that dog in the new environment to happen, and that dog is back in the system. All right, and that dog might not get another crack. So it's up to you to protect them from themselves, okay? That is our job. It's very, very important. All right, so back to my little dog Tbone for a second. The one feeling I always have when I lose a dog is, well, there's 2 feelings really, grief okay? It really hits you in the pit of your stomach. You feel awful for days and days on end. It's devastating. But secondly, guilt, okay? And the reason I have guilt is because I always wish I knew what I know now back when I first got him. Now, don't get me wrong, Tbone had an amazing life, okay? He was spoiled, lived the dream, had plenty of opportunity. He was my wife's sole puppy. Those two were glue, okay? Anytime my wife got up at night, went to see the kids, okay? He was at her feet. They worked together, essentially. They were one, okay? And we were saying the other day that we've never had our relationship without Tbone, and what does that mean? So ultimately, he lived the dream, okay? So don't get me wrong, but I always have feelings of guilt, okay? And the guilt comes from what I know now, all right? So what I know now is better ways of doing things, better ways to train, okay? Better ways to manage situations. And that can then afford the dog more freedom, okay? And give them more opportunity, all right? So if I had Tbone now, I would develop him in a different way and he would have a better life for it, no doubt about it, okay? So the lesson in that for me, and hopefully for you, is that invest in training, okay? Getting the dog the nicest jacket you can get or the nicest bed you can get is far less important than you developing knowledge to give them a better life, okay? So your dog ultimately wants to have more opportunity, to live more, to do more things, to be involved in more things. And that's gonna come from training, okay? Investing in your knowledge and learning how to train your dog. All right, hope this video is helpful, and Tbone, we love you, buddy.